Chapter 5, Side B.
Welcome back, Alex. Do you want to talk about your time in Colorado? Let's start with something positive. What did you learn from your visit to Haven Springs?
The meaning of home, not to be afraid of my emotions. Probably, yeah, maybe what the meaning of home was. She had never really had a home.
I thought I learned what it means to make a place your home.
That must have felt like quite the victory. Let's talk about how it feels to know that you might have been wrong. I suppose I'm proud of you for trying. You helped some people. Chased a mystery. Found some friends you could trust. But Alex, you're right back where you started.
No. No, she's wrong. Because even if it turned out the people closest to her, like Jed and stuff, they would betray her, she learned more about how to use her powers and abilities for good and everyone's personal struggles. I didn't realize it, but at the end screen for the last chapter, I could have talked with Ducky. He was in the bar, but further back. I just didn't want to keep the rest of the party waiting. But yeah, that it's just such a blind side. Who would have thought that Jed being the villain in that LARP was gonna be so prophetic? But no, I think she's going to be in defiance of this. You're wrong. Because she's not back where she started. She's not alone. It's just at the moment, the grips of this town. But does that mean... If it was Jed all along... I mean, Jed is definitely in Typhon's pocket. But does that mean that Typhon really has as much on them as possible? Unless that was his business. Could be Jed's business. He's the investigator.
You're wrong. I don't belong in here.
If that were true, Alex, you'd know you were talking to an empty chair.
Because this is a vision. Just a delusion. Something that maybe she's dreaming while she's in and out of consciousness at the bottom of the mine shaft.
What the... Hey, my guitar. Knock, knock.
What comes out of it? Who's there?
Alex Chen?
Never heard of her.
My guitar case has never heard of me. Sure. Huh.
There's a lock? Maybe we'll have to find the number to it. How are you feeling today? Oh, it's a chippy version of her. Angry, scared, sad, lonely, happy, guilty.
Is that what I look like? Really?
Family photos.
These don't belong to Dr. Lin.
That's because it's a dream. An hallucination.
A tuning peg.
For the guitar. Can I take the tuning peg? Yeah. We have an item. We'll probably need it for the guitar, but we have to find a way to open the locking mechanism, a pattern of some sort. Ah, the folder. A case file?
I guess that's me. Case number 53322.
Maybe that's the lock combination. Age 21, gender female. Emotional instability, occasional violent outbursts, hallucinations, visual hallucinations. Is that audio? Or delusional ideation, depression, anxiety.
Thrown down a... what?
Alex experiences detailed and robust delusion that she is able to read other people's emotional states and believes that because of this ability, she is uniquely equipped to help others overcome their own emotional trauma. It's difficult to overlook the irony. Someone as profoundly dysfunctional as Alex adopting the role of an emotional caretaker. Had she not been returned to my care, I do not think it hyperbolic to speculate that her reckless attempts at fixing her friends and family would eventually have gotten someone hurt. It's my belief that Alex's delusions constitute a threat to her continued well-being, as well as those of others. As such, I recommend that Alex be thrown down an endless pit, her body shattered against each jutting board and erratic brick, until she is forgotten in the darkness beneath the world. This is, in my professional opinion, the most humane thing we can do for her. So, reflecting on what she's just experienced. Man, thinking back on it, how is Ryan going to cope with the idea that his father tried to murder Alex?
Dr. Lin always records our sessions.
"12 years ago, I made a mistake. The kind of thing that you can't undo."
Alex, you know that I care about you. With everything that has happened, I just want what's best for you.
Is the door locked?
I've got to get out of this place.
I should open the guitar case first.
Knock, knock. Who's there? A 5-digit number. Funny stuff.
Yep. Oh look, we can actually do this. All right. 5, 3, 3, 2, 2. Oh, just enter, submit. What do we have in here? Is it the guitar? Yes, and it is missing one of the tuning pegs. Fix. There we go.
Gabe gave me this guitar, but he never heard me play it.
Is it from the wound? Don't mind, there's still such a long way to go. But she got caught on one of the cross beams. How many ribs does she have broken? Oh, yep. That's broken ribs. Is Jed gonna check? Or is she okay? Can she... There's still a ladder apparently, but... Oh gosh. That is so rickety. And it's probably been like that for years. She's falling further. No. I mean... Wait. Is she... Has she been saved? Or... No, this is another vision. She's probably falling deeper into the mine so that she sees it. Wait, what?
Alex!
Gabe?
Gabe? You're dead.
So? Lots of people are dead, Alex. Most people.
Where are we?
I want to say... a hospital?
Dr. Mendez to intensive care? Dr. Mendez to intensive care.
Yep, definitely a hospital.
Gabe.
Okay, here's what I do know. You are 10, I am 14. Our mother is sick. So is our father. But it's a different kind of sickness.
Yeah, the father's mentally unwell, the mother
Play your part.
physically. So they're reliving this memory of when they were children?
Ow! Gabe, why?
I didn't do anything.
Stop.
Both of you,
Dad.
behave. Alex, go check on your mother.
Okay. She was right over there, waiting for me.
I wonder what kind of worker their father was. He seemed to have the attire of maybe a janitor or a mechanic or a workman, someone who needed to have their name on a shirt.
There it is. The painting that taught me that art sucked sometimes.
Because it's a bunch of abstract brush strokes and scribbles.
Gabe and I used to watch cartoons on this thing after school.
Oh, would they visit their mom in the hospital almost every day?
We couldn't afford a private room. Just got lucky, I guess. Mom used to fidget with her keys whenever she was worried.
Oh, it's a luck cat. Wait, it has meaning?
Gabe, Alex, I need you to listen very carefully. We got some scary news today, and I'm going to be spending some time at the hospital.
What? Mom? Are you okay?
Hush now. It's going to be okay. Do you understand me? Things will be different for a little while. But I am going to be okay.
She knew. Even then, she knew. We spent so much time in here that I basically memorized every article. Gabe told me it was full of needles. scared me to death. It was always too hot in this room.
Looks like all we have left is the curtain.
She's just on the other side.
Answer, I assume? Very, very slow rate. And she's on oxygen.
How many nights did Dad spend in this room? Sleeping in an uncomfortable chair and eating vending machine dinners. There's something so weird and scary about watching your dad cry.
I mean, she might be in a coma. Maybe she's just barely hanging in there.
Mom. Every time I saw her, I worried it would be the last. Hi, Mom. Mom. Mom.
Such a brave girl. How do you ever get so brave?
Is that how it went? You don't think you missed anything?
Was she editing the memory?
Ow! Gabe, why?
I didn't do anything.
Stop.
Both of you,
Dad.
behave. Alex, go check on your mother.
Okay.
She's in a loop, experiencing it again and again. Are things going to be changed in here?
Did I miss something? We couldn't afford a private room. Just got lucky, I guess.
No, we looked at all these. Wait, the water is something new.
No matter how much Mom drank, her throat was always dry. She's just on the other side. Mom, what am I missing? What did we talk about?
I don't believe there's anything else that I can interact with, so do I just speak with her again? Ooh, that wigged out a little bit.
Hi, Mom. Mom. Mom.
Water, Alex. Get her some water.
Yep. There's the big cup.
Thank you. You almost never cried, even when you were very small. Did you know that? That's been my biggest challenge with you. How do you take care of someone who is already so strong?
She thought it was strength, when it was really just her probably trying to hide her emotions and what she was feeling.
Shh. No tears, my strong girl. I want you to make me a promise. Your brother, your father, they are going to need you. You have to be strong. Will you do that, Alex?
A locket of some sort?
Such a brave girl. How do you ever get so brave?
Static. From what? Where? Or is this another illusion? Another memory? An old television. I wonder where this is. It must be their house. But the weird black lantern is still there. Yeah, this must be her home. Reading comics. Writing notes. A shrine. Family pictures of the happy times. A shoe that isn't torn to bits.
Was that the last time you talked to her? Mom.
I think so.
Do you miss her?
Gabe, what's going on?
You're 11, I'm almost 15. Dad and I are time bombs. You keep running back and forth, trying to defuse us both.
Yeah, he might be a rebellious teenager, and she has to juggle both of them and their emotions.
This is going to suck so bad. Play your part.
Play your part. Just reliving these memories. Did their father beat them? There's definitely an argument. What is she putting on? A record?
There was only ever one thing to do when they got like this. Drown them out and wait for it to pass. The volume dial was my best friend on days like this.
Gonna look a little bit, or sound a little bit weird because I'm probably gonna have to have the volume off for this.
Just listen to the music. Drown out the anger.
It's probably going to be Kings of Leon. Oh, so she would put it through her headphones. So she would probably be listening to this music as they argued. I wonder what they're saying. He's just taking it in.
Alex? Hey. It's okay. It's just me. But you know that's not how it went down, right?
Oh, is she editing it in her head again? Was it far worse? Or is it that she didn't listen to the music and just tried drowning them out?
It was my job to keep the peace. But no matter what I did, I tried so hard to keep my promise to her.
But she couldn't.
Mom and Dad had this TV before they had either of us. Gabe had barely used this backpack in weeks. Nobody could get him to go to school.
Ah, so he had comic books too. So, do they really have just mattresses on the ground? Maybe this is an apartment more so than a house.
When wasn't this place falling apart? Gabe loved Son of Lead back when it was an indie. It was too gory for me.
Ah, number one.
The killer mistress tabs in this book weren't even close to right.
That's pretty artwork that they have, but yeah, she has that's the equivalent of a closet for them.
Cleaning Dad's ashtray was not my favorite job in the world. At least I managed to hold on to you, Shoo Shoo. Dad's laundry. I always set it here when it was done so he could find it. Mom's old sewing kit. Don't think I've ever even tasted a butter cookie. It was full of greeting cards. Mom kept every single one we ever got.
Yeah, I have a box of my own for greeting cards.
Thanks for trying, Lucky Cat. My job was to sort them in order of how close we were to a collections notice.
Just getting by.
I wanted to be a werewolf that Halloween. Couldn't afford the costume. I can't believe they were ever this happy.
So that must be their pantry. Some vegetables. Cereals. Up, there's the alcohol.
Gabe used to steal Dad's beer all the time. It was like the one thing they didn't fight about. We never really touched these after Mom died. She was such a good cook. 2 cups water for 1 cup rice. Set timer for 30 minutes. Do your history homework. Serve. I didn't even know what CPS was. Just that I was afraid of them.
Hey, Gabe. I'm Leslie Halloran. I'm from the Oregon State Child Protective Services. We got a call from someone who said there might have been some kind of fight here last night. Is your dad home?
Oh, gosh. You know what? That was like rehearsal. And I'm in this play at school, and my dad, he was helping me learn my lines.
Must be some play. But if you need anything, my number is on there, okay?
So yeah, people were overhearing them.
Almost empty. Almost always.
The loss of a parent and everything, it can really put them in terrible financial straits. And yeah, they do say that strife in marriage and with the home life and everything is so dependent on whether or not people are well provided for. And it must be hard to continue with work if you're suffering emotionally too. Anything else?
This was probably the most expensive thing we owned. It kind of kept me sane. Gabe and Dad were so loud when they fought.
I think we have to confront them.
Where you going? Are you gonna tell her? Or is that my job?
Keep your voice down.
Fine, I'll do it. Alex, Dad lost his job again. So we're broke. Again.
Don't talk to me that way. Despite what you may believe, you do not know everything. You think what? I laid myself off?
It's okay. We'll figure it out. I
don't know, Dad. But what are we supposed to do now? We gotta eat.
We can sell some records. Or what about my guitar? We can sell that.
Alex, what is it gonna take to get you to stop defending him?
If your mother could see you now.
I don't want to hear about Mom.
Gabe!
I'm so tired of you using her as an excuse to be a piece of shit. Don't touch me, piece of shit.
Dad.
Damn it, Alex.
I'm okay. It's okay. It was an accident.
Alex, I didn't...
Dad, it's okay. Really, I'm not hurt.
I can't do this.
Dad?
What's in the backpack?
Someone will come. That woman from CPS. Someone.
Is he running? Is he just packing things up and leaving?
Dad!
I'm sorry.
No. No. Dad!
The medallion. The amulet. Locket? Yeah, it looks like a locket. It could open. But why would they introduce this locket now? Wait, Gabe said that he was looking for his father in Haven Springs. Is she gonna find the locket at the bottom of the mine shaft? Did her father go off to Haven Springs and die? In a mine? That'd be a twist. Wait a minute. She's not bloodied or anything. Is this another vision? Chen, return to sender, return to sender. So, she's tried writing to him, but to no avail.
Hey, can I ask you a question? Which orphanage is this? The one in Grant Park? Kinda thought it'd be nicer.
I can't do this, okay? I can't.
You need to.
No.
You need to be honest about what you see.
I was. I have. And now I'm done.
Almost. But not yet. You were 12, I am 16. I steal a car and end up in juvie.
Gabe, come on.
Then you're 13, 14, 15. Orphanages, group homes, musty rooms in the strange houses of foster parents. By the time you're 17, you've seen them all. Somewhere along the line, you start to feel things. Your own emotions don't belong to you. You have nothing. No one. You are alone.
I don't want this.
Alex. Play your part.
Play your part.
Play my part.
That's insidious words.
Guess I missed a few days.
Happiness is a choice you make every day. No, I hate it when people are told to be optimistic all the time. Because yes, trying to carry a certain mindset can impact how you handle situations and how you maintain yourself and your composure and your emotions in the future, and about everything from your productivity to how you treat other people. But no one should be told to just hide or squash their negative emotions, because then it bottles up.
How you holding up, Shu?
Can't believe how long you've had that thing.
That thing was my only friend after you left. We weren't allowed to bring glass into the dorms. So we had to drink from this thing.
Like hamsters in a cage.
Except if you give a hamster a glass, they don't toss it at the other hamsters' heads.
So there was always the threat of violence. The kids using the glass to harm one another.
God, they put me on so many meds.
Or Pyrazole. Glycosonid. Wow. Yeah, she was on a lot. Lithium. Methyl phenidate. Yeah. Look at that.
Did any of them ever work?
Some of them helped. A little. None of them fixed me.
In their defense, mutant empathy isn't exactly in the DSM.
They used to say this place wasn't a prison.
Well, Maybe they were trying to keep you safe?
Guess so. Whatever the reason, the end result was prison bars.
Probably to prevent them from opening up windows and trying to escape or jump out, but yeah, it depends on if they're on the second story or first story. I know that first story you would probably have bars not only for the safety of the inhabitants on the inside, but so that people couldn't enter from the outside. Rules.
I took a fork in here one time and hid it under my mattress. Just 'cause.
Residents must adhere to their assigned schedules at all times and not permitted to loiter in the dormitory outside of the designated free time. Glass and silverware are to remain in the canteen. Do not bring these into the dormitory. Non-resident guests are not permitted in the dormitory. Lights out occurs at 9 p.m. every night. No music, no TV, no screen time after lights out. Failure to adhere to any of these rules will result in disciplinary action.
They should have stenciled the same thing on all of us.
Do you really feel like you were their property?
We didn't belong to anyone else, did we?
We're never getting out of this place.
I remember the kid who put this here. Sally. Something with an S?
You were friends at first, right?
Way at first. Then I freaked out on her and she was done with me. Just like everyone else.
Fancy.
Everyone had one good outfit. We wore them to meet the parents.
Did it help?
Kinda think you already know the answer to that question.
By meeting parents, they probably mean meeting foster parents to see who gets chosen.
Well, there are my strings. Where's my guitar?
The footlocker. I can sit here, apparently. Could have tried the door, but I think they always say it's locked. I'm always afraid that I'm going to select the door and then it's going to leave the instance. What are we hearing or feeling? Wait a minute. Are those couples?
She's been through so much. I just don't know if we're prepared for a troubled girl.
Wait, so that's an angry woman and a sad man. These are afraid.
It says here she's sensitive. What does that mean?
Now we get to see the woman's anger.
I wonder why she's never found a home before.
Maybe it's more malice. That's sarcasm.
I'm sure she's a sweet girl, but she's not for us.
She's awfully old, isn't she?
This is the kid that's been in all those fights, right?
I want to help. I really do, but there's just something
Off.
broken. Wrong.
With her.
The broken glass.
I'm sorry.
Why?
You need to see it.
See what? That nobody picked me?
Nobody picked you. Nobody picked you. Nobody wanted you. Mom died. Dad left. I bailed. You couldn't keep us together.
It was my job to keep us.
You were 11 years old. You were 11 years old. You were a kid, Alex. Let it go. People leave. Life gets hard. Sometimes it's a big shit sandwich. Make it better. Be angry at Dad. Miss Mom. Hell, be angry at me. But don't give up. No one gets to tell you what you're worth. And no one can take your life away. Fight.
I'm not sure
You have a gift. It's something you don't even understand. You can change the world. Make it better. Now get up.
What?
Get up and fight.